Hello, let's talk about hypothesis testing today. Is my guess any good? And what we're going to use is what's called levels of significance on a two-tail hypothesis test. Here's your problem. If you use a 0.01 level of significance in a two-tail hypothesis test, what is your decision rule for rejecting your null hypothesis that the mean is 12.5 if you're using the z-test? Z-test meaning you're using the standard normal curve. Now note that the mean, in this case, means nothing at this point because the value of 12.5 is not really what we're interested in. We simply want a 0.01 level of significance test on the standard normal curve. Okay, and we're now looking at the standard normal curve. We're assuming a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. What we need to do to this curve is add two lines, one here on the left and one here on the right. And we want to do it in such a way that the area in this left tail and this right tail adds up to 0.01. which means the left tail by itself, this area here has to be 0.005, and this one has to be 0.005. So it'll add up to 0.01, of course. That makes the middle area, that's going to be 99% of your curve, right? So all these areas would add up to 100%. How do we do that? Well, you could look it up in Excel, but I'd like you to look this one up in the standard normal table, table E2 in your book. Here is a portion of the standard normal table. Now if you look at, say, this entry, you have negative 3.00. The area to the left of the curve at negative 3.00 would be this, 0.0013. The area to the left of negative 3.09, well, negative 3, and here's your 0.09, that would be the area to the left of negative 3.09. Now I want you to look at this table, see if you can find a value that's pretty close to 0.005, and you'll run through it and you'll run through it, and your eyes will probably end up looking between these two values. One is 0.0051 and one is 0.0049. So the value negative 2.57 isn't large enough or small enough or whatever. And the value negative 2.58, you've gone too far. But so you might be looking at something between these two values, like negative 2.575 maybe. For our purposes, why don't we just use this one? So we're going to use negative 2.58. The one for the right tail will just simply be the positive of that. So the answer to our question is, if your z-score falls between negative 2.58 and positive 2.58, we will not reject the null hypothesis. If the z-score falls outside this interval, negative 2.58 and positive 2.58, we would reject the null hypothesis. So what would your decision be if the z-stat was negative 2.61? Well, compare that value to this interval. You see it's outside of this interval, so in this case we would have to reject the null hypothesis. Your value is just way too far away from the mean in this case.